Just moments ago, Ozzy Osbourne was telling a baker how good the cupcakes looked. Now, he was witnessing a man cry in silence. The 8 minutes between these two moments would save a father's dignity and change a child's life forever. But why was Ozzy in an ordinary Van Nuys neighborhood that day instead of Beverly Hills? Los Angeles, Van Nuys neighborhood. June 14th, 2018, 3:47 p.m. Sweet Dreams Bakery was a small family-owned shop. In the display case sat 3-day-old donuts, slightly wilted cupcakes, and a single luxury wedding cake. Despite the 93-degree heat outside, the air conditioning wasn't running because the owner, Mrs. Rodriguez, was trying to save on her electric bill. Ozzy sat in the back of Sharon's car. His wife was behind the wheel, telling him something, but Ozzy wasn't listening. He stared out the window, his thoughts drifting back a decade to his own children's birthdays, forgotten parties, missed moments. Sharon suddenly hit the brakes. "Ozzy, are you listening to me?" Sharon's voice was sharp but affectionate. Ozzy snapped back to reality. "Of course I'm listening, love. You said something." Sharon rolled her eyes. "I said we're not supposed to be in this neighborhood. The GPS sent us the wrong way, but you're off in dreamland again." Ozzy looked out the window. The faded pink sign of Sweet Dreams Bakery caught his eye. "Hang on a minute," he said in that familiar Brummy accent. "There's a bakery right there. Maybe we'll grab something." Sharon looked skeptical. "Ozzy, there are 1,000 boutique bakeries in Beverly Hills. Why here?" "Because we're here," Ozzy said firmly, opening the door. Sharon was about to object, but she knew that look. There was no point arguing. She parked the car. When Ozzy walked into the bakery, the first thing he noticed was how ordinary it smelled. Not the lavender vanilla expensive essence blend of boutique bakeries, just plain flour, sugar, and butter. Real, honest. Mrs. Rodriguez jumped to her feet when she saw them, her face lit with that genuine joy that came from seeing customers. "Welcome. How can I help you?" Ozzy examined the display case. Sharon stood beside him, her eyes saying, "Look what you've done now." But Ozzy didn't care. "Your cupcakes," he said, feeling obligated to say something. "They look good." Mrs. Rodriguez's face brightened. "Made them fresh this morning. Chocolate, vanilla, red velvet." Just then, the door opened and a man walked in. Mid-30s, wearing construction work pants, a t-shirt stained with paint and plaster, sun-weathered skin, and tired eyes. The most striking thing was the crumpled cash in his hand. Coins, $1 bills, $5 bills. Like it had come from a piggy bank. Mrs. Rodriguez turned to him, her voice soft. "Marcus? Hello. How are you?" Marcus smiled weakly. "I'm good, Mrs. R. I came for Lily's cake, the one you promised." Mrs. Rodriguez's expression changed, a mixture of pity and concern appearing there. "Yes, of course, I made it. Pink frosting, unicorn figures on top, just like Lily wanted." Marcus seemed relieved, but the tension was still there. "Great. How much?" Mrs. Rodriguez went to the back and brought out a medium-sized, simple but sweet cake. Pink frosting, plastic unicorn decorations. "Happy 7th birthday, Lily," written on top in pink gel pen. Modest, but the kind a child would love. $45, Mrs. Rodriguez said gently. Marcus started counting the money in his hand. His fingers were trembling. $1, $5, $10, $20, $25, $30, $32. He stopped. Counted again. $32.50. His face went ashen. I... Marcus's voice choked. "I guess I miscalculated. I have $32. Deep sadness appeared on Mrs. Rodriguez's face. "Marcus, it cost me more than $40 to make this cake. I'm already giving you a discount. I can't go any lower because I can't pay my own bills." Marcus nodded, too quickly, as if trying to act like everything was fine. "I understand. No problem. I'll try somewhere else. Maybe get something ready-made from the supermarket." But the desperation in his voice was obvious. Mrs. Rodriguez insisted, "Marcus, if you can wait until tomorrow—" "No." Marcus cut her off sharply, then softened. "I mean, the party's today. At 5. Lily's waiting. I promised her. Ozzy stood there in front of the display case, but he heard every word. He looked at Sharon. His wife's face showed the same expression. They both understood what was happening. Marcus stepped back, stuffing the money into his pocket. It's okay. I'll figure it out. Thanks anyway, Mrs. R. He headed for the door. Ozzy moved. Not quickly. Ozzy Osbourne never rushed, but with purpose. Hang on a second, mate, he said in that familiar Birmingham accent. Marcus turned, confused. He looked at Ozzy, then at Sharon, then back at Ozzy. He didn't recognize him. Why would he? Ozzy, in his black t-shirt and jeans, was just an ordinary 69-year-old man. Sorry about this, Ozzy said gently. But I overheard just now. Your daughter's birthday is today, yeah? Marcus got defensive, as if he was about to be judged. Yes. Is there a problem? No. Ozzy raised his hands. No problem. It's just, I grew up dirt poor as a kid. In Birmingham. 6 kids in the family. My dad worked at a steel factory. On my birthdays, there was never a cake. Maybe a biscuit, maybe a plain cake my mum made. But a proper cake? Never. Marcus didn't know what to say. Who was this man? Why was he telling him this? Ozzy continued, his voice soft but sincere. And now, years later, I remember my own kids' cakes. All of them. Every birthday. Because those moments, they matter. Kids remember. Even if you forget, they remember. Marcus's eyes filled with tears, but he didn't cry. He clenched his jaw, nodded. I know. That's why I promised her. I said there'd be a unicorn cake. And now I'm showing up with $32 for this lady. His voice broke. What kind of father am I? Ozzy reached into his pocket. Sharon knew what was coming. His wife smiled faintly. Ozzy pulled out his wallet, extracted a $50 bill. He held it out to Marcus. Take this. Marcus recoiled as if shocked. No, I don't want charity. This isn't charity, Ozzy said firmly. This is one father helping another. I've been where you are. Different country, different time, but the same situation. And nobody helped me. Maybe if someone had, maybe I would have felt a little less shame back then. Marcus's hands were shaking. I'll pay you back. Give me your address, I'll send it. No need, Ozzy said calmly. All I want is for you to give your daughter what you promised her as a father, that's all. Marcus took the $50, but he didn't really take it. His fingers touched the edge of the bill as if it might burn him. His eyes searched Ozzy's face, looking for a trap, a joke, some kind of humiliation. But he found none. Just an old man's tired but sincere gaze. Mrs. Rodriguez watched silently from behind the counter, her hand pressed to her heart. Sharon stood beside Ozzy, used to her husband's spontaneous acts of generosity, but her heart still ached every time. Marcus finally took the money, but as he did, something broke inside him. That tough, masculine armor, the I-can-handle-it mask. His face crumpled, his eyes filled, and there in front of a medium-sized pink cake, before 2 strangers, Marcus Rodriguez cried. They weren't big, heaving sobs. These were silent, shame-filled tears, the kind that had been held back for years, suppressed, swallowed down with the belief that men don't cry. Marcus brought his hands to his face, his shoulders shaking. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm not usually like this. Ozzy stepped forward and touched Marcus's shoulder, light but firm. Hey, he said softly. There's nothing wrong with crying, mate. I cried for years. Sometimes drunk, sometimes sober. Crying doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Sharon stepped in, her voice gentle but practical. Marcus, take the cake. Go to your daughter. Give her the best birthday. Then forget this moment. Just remember the happiness on Lily's face. Marcus nodded rapidly, as if trying to pull himself together. Mrs. Rodriguez carefully placed the cake in a box, tied a pink ribbon on top. Marcus handed her the remaining $32 and the $50 Ozzy had given him. As Mrs. Rodriguez took the money, She looked at Marcus, something in her eyes. "Marcus," she said quietly, "you're a good father. Coming all this way, saving that money, caring this much, that's what makes you a good dad." Marcus just bowed his head, unable to speak. He took the cake, turned to Ozzy. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice still broken. "I don't even know your name." Ozzy shrugged. "Doesn't matter, mate. Just someone." Marcus didn't believe him, but didn't press. He headed for the door, but stopped at the threshold, looked back. "Thank you. Really. I'll never forget what you did." Marcus left. The door closed. A deep silence fell over the shop. Mrs. Rodriguez turned to Ozzy, her eyes filled with tears. "Are you an angel?" she asked, half joking, half serious. Ozzy laughed, that famous mad Ozzy laugh. "An angel? Me? God, no. I'm rock and roll's devil, you know. Black Sabbath? The bloke who bit the bat's head off? The Prince of Darkness?" Mrs. Rodriguez's eyes widened. She was slowly beginning to understand. Are you Ozzy Osbourne?" Ozzy put his finger to his lips. "Shh, please don't tell anyone. We weren't even supposed to be here." Sharon laughed. "That's true. The GPS sent us the wrong way, but I think it sent us the right way, actually." Mrs. Rodriguez needed to sit down. She sank into her chair, still in shock. I was a fan of yours. When I was young, I played the Paranoid album at home. My mother was so angry. She said, 'This is devil music.'" Ozzy laughed. "Your mum was right, but good devil music." Then he got serious. "You're a good person too, making Marcus that discounted cake, showing him respect. That matters. Most people would have turned him away." Mrs. Rodriguez nodded. "He's a good man. His wife died of cancer 2 years ago. Lily was only 5 then. Marcus is raising her alone, works 2 jobs, construction in the mornings, supermarket in the evenings. But it's still not enough. Rent, bills, raising a little girl, everything's so expensive. And he never complains, never asks for help. Coming here today was an act of courage." Ozzy's expression darkened. This story was familiar, too familiar. When Ozzy and Sharon walked out of the bakery, the sun had dipped lower, the heat still there but softened. As they walked toward the car, Ozzy was quiet, thoughtful. Sharon knew him well. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. Ozzy paused. "I'm thinking about Jack's 8th birthday. I was on tour. I don't even remember where. Maybe Germany, maybe Japan. But I wasn't home. And he waited for me. Called in the morning, asked, 'Dad, where are you?' I was drunk. I don't remember what I said, but Kelly told me later it was something stupid." Sharon touched his shoulder. "But you came back. And you made up for it. All of it." "Yeah, but I missed that moment. That morning. That cake. Those candles. I missed it. And Marcus, that man, works 2 jobs. His wife is dead. But he still managed to save those bloody $32 for his daughter's birthday. I had millions, but I wasn't home." Sharon stopped, turned Ozzy to face her. "Ozzy Osbourne, listen to me. You weren't a perfect father, that's true. But you weren't a bad one either. And now, right now, what you did for Marcus, this is you making up for those missed moments. Not just for your own kids, but for the whole world." Ozzy smiled. His eyes filled, but he didn't cry. "You understand me too well, woman." That night, in Marcus Rodriguez's small 2-bedroom apartment, there was a birthday party. Just Marcus and Lily. Nobody else. No friends, no family, just a father and his daughter. But Lily didn't care, because in front of her was a pink, frosted, unicorn-decorated, perfect cake. Marcus lit the candle, turned off the lights. "Go on, sweetheart, make a wish." Lily closed her eyes, thought for a moment, then blew out the candle. "What did you wish for?" Marcus asked. Lily smiled, that gap-toothed 7-year-old smile. "I can't tell, but it was about you, Daddy." Marcus hugged his daughter tight. "I love you so much, Lily, so much." Lily smiled. "I love you too, Daddy, and this is the best cake ever." And in that moment, in that tiny kitchen, in front of that pink cake lit by a single candle, Marcus understood something. Being rich didn't matter. Having a big house didn't matter. What mattered was keeping your promises to the people you love. And sometimes, just sometimes, the universe would help you. 3 weeks later, Marcus returned to Sweet Dreams Bakery. He had an envelope in his hand. He saw Mrs. Rodriguez, held out the envelope. "What's this?" the woman asked. "There's $100 in there. 50 for that old man, 50 for what I owe you. I want to pay this back." Mrs. Rodriguez didn't even open it. She pushed it back. "Marcus, that money was given for you, not for me." Marcus was about to object, but the woman continued. "But I do need to show you something." She pulled a thick envelope from under the register. Marcus's name was written on it. "This came this morning. Courier brought it." Marcus opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was a letter and a check. The check was for $30,000. Marcus's hand shook so badly he nearly dropped it. He read the letter, his voice cracking. "Marcus, what you did that day in the bakery took courage. Saving that money for your daughter, swallowing your pride to ask for help. That's strength. Lily is lucky to have a father like you. This money isn't a gift, it's an investment. For Lily's education, maybe school supplies, maybe a class, maybe just breathing room. There's only one condition. One day, you help someone else. You don't need to pay the money back, just pass the kindness forward." One father to another. Marcus collapsed to the floor. His knees gave out. Mrs. Rodriguez rushed to his side, but Marcus was crying, couldn't control it. Not the silent, shameful tears from before. These were deep, breaking sobs. The kind that came from years of holding everything together, of being strong for Lily, of never asking for help, of working 2 jobs and still falling short. He clutched the check to his chest like it was a lifeline, like it was proof that someone, somewhere, believed he was doing enough. That night, Marcus sat at their small kitchen table while he stared at the check, at the letter, at those words, "One father to another." And he understood something he'd never quite grasped before. Kindness wasn't charity. It wasn't pity. It was a father in Birmingham who never got a birthday cake recognizing himself in a father in Van Nuys who was trying to give his daughter one. It was the invisible thread that connected every parent who'd ever felt like they weren't enough, every person who'd ever struggled and kept going anyway. Marcus folded the letter carefully and placed it in his wallet, right where he'd counted those $32. He didn't know Ozzy Osbourne's music. He'd never heard of Black Sabbath. But he knew, with absolute certainty, that he'd just been touched by something bigger than rock and roll. He'd been touched by grace. And someday, when he had the chance, he'd pass it forward. Not because he owed it, but because that's what fathers do.